Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Sanders, and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Uh, Today, I want to talk about a watch, Louis Vuitton Tambour. The Tambour has been around for a long time, but the new one they came out with was a lot different. It's sort of a very went right up to just under 20,000, and the watches that are in that range. And in my opinion, they did a great job. I mean, I really like the looks of it, and everything about it seems to have hit the right notes. It's got a caliber LFT 023, and much more will be said about that in a bit. It's an automatic hours, minutes, small seconds. It's got a 22 karat gold micro rotor. All right, now that's a micro rotor. Good and bad about micro rotors. On the one hand, you can make the watch thinner. On the other hand, it's where you put everything. Your balance wheel has to be a lot smaller. So good and bad there. Power reserve 50 hours. Frequency 4 hertz, 28,800 semi-oscillations per hour. This is one of the things, the interesting thing, they put the certification chronometer by the Geneva Chronometric Observatory, ISO 3159. Accuracy 4 to 6 seconds per day. Now, like I said, I like the looks. I like the bracelet. Just sort of a nice, clean watch. Very good looking watch. 18,500 for that is not cheap, but not crazy yet. And Louis Vuitton's got a very good reputation, and the larger company, LVMH, owns a whole lot. Now, going on is let's take a look at the caliber. Now, immediately I said, okay, this is by Fabrique du Temps, which is owned by Louis Vuitton. And it turns out that it's not. The caliber LFT023 is based on a CH200.CHSA, which is by a company called Le Cercle des Horologies. Now, who are these guys? Well, in 2012, a couple guys, one was Nicholas Heron, the other was Alan Sheasy. They founded this company in a little town outside of La Chaux-de-Fonds. And the Sheasy had worked for 10 years for Christopher Claret, whose stuff is just fantastic. And Heron had spent 6 years making prototypes for Audemars Piguet, and then moved to Louis Vuitton's La Fabrique du Temps. And this is where he gained solid experience, and with the two watchmakers that are sort of the guiding powers at La Fabrique du Temps are Enrico Barbassini and Michael Navas. So this was like a whoa. I was really surprised. I mean, why would you go to another place where you have your own? You know, they even have I put a picture of a big factory, La Fabrique du Temps Louis Vuitton. I'm not sure. I really am not sure. The company that they went to, Les Cercle des Horologies, is certainly, I mean, extremely well respected. And so that's not too unusual. Plus the fact that Heron had worked for, Nicholas Heron had worked for La Fabrique du Temps before. So here, you have this almost incestuous kind of relationships among the Swiss watchmakers. Now, I was wondering, where does this watch fit? It's a steel watch. It's a nice one. It's got a, like I said, I'm very much two-sided on the micro rotor, but it's a gold one. It's a nice one. So, what do we compare it with? Well, the ones I compared it with were the Streamliner Center Second Smoked Salmon from H. Moser. Now, H. Moser has a series of the Streamliner Center Seconds, and each one has a different color for and they're a limited edition. In fact, this one, the smoked salmon one, was sold out. So, and they're not going to make any more, but they're going to make more with different colors. And this one sells for $9,900. Now, the movement they have in there is an automatic movement, except it has a rotor that is in a more traditional one. It's not the micro rotor. But if you look at the balance wheel, it's got a nice big balance wheel in there. So it's a kind of one that is, if I had a choice between the two, very much like the Tambour, but I'd get I'd get the Moser. Now, the Vacheron Constant 1056, I had a very hard time, by the way, finding one to compare with it. Now, this one is $15,400. It does have an automatic movement with, again, I'll call it the conventional rotor on it. Now, the movement is made by Valfleury, which is somewhat like Valfleury is the Richemont's movement maker, and while it's a good movement, it's not a Geneva seal movement, I'll put it that way. And in fact, I don't even know if it's a chronometer rated. Usually they would say something about that. Now it's less expensive. It's about $3,000 less expensive than the Tambour, but these kinds of watches would be in consideration. The problem I had was that I found some that had sort of looked like the center part, but not with that came with its own bracelet like that. So I learned something new. There's this wonderful movement making company I hadn't heard of before, and there are a lot more details. I think they make most, if not all, of the movements for the Speak Marin and that watch company, and several other top watch companies use the same movement maker that Louis Vuitton used instead of their own. They use the I'll say the circle of watchmakers. That would be the English translation. Anyway, let me know what you think, and opportunity to subscribe if you like. And until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection.